Hello, my name is Lydia Trejo and I am one of the consultants with Coastline EAP. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about the power of positive thinking. Positive thinking sounds very useful on the surface. Most of us would prefer to be positive rather than negative. But positive thinking is also a soft and fluffy term that is very easy to dismiss. In the real world, it rarely carries the same weight as words like work ethic or persistence. But those views are changing. Research is beginning to reveal that positive thinking is about much more than just being happy or displaying an upbeat attitude. Positive thoughts can actually create real value in your work, your health, and your life. So let me ask you, is the glass half empty or half full? The phrase glass half full or glass half empty is a common rhetorical description of how one sees the world, through optimistic eyes or through a more pessimistic lens. When you see your glass as half full, there is a natural tendency to value what is in your glass, thus increasing the chances of enjoying it. However, if you see the glass as half empty, there are several natural reactions that you are likely to have. For example, feeling bad about what is missing, resenting what is missing, and even getting defensive about what isn't there. These reactions make it harder to enjoy what's in your glass. How about the second image? How many good bananas do you see? One banana may be ripe and ready to eat right now, but the overripe banana also has value. There are hundreds of things that you can do with an overripe banana. Positive and negative thoughts can become self-fulfilling prophecies. What we expect can often come true. Perspective influences everything, and you can learn to develop a more positive perspective by consciously attending to positive aspects of your daily experience. The National Science Foundation has estimated that our brains produce as many as 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. A high percentage of these thoughts are repeated daily and reflect the mindset or beliefs that we hold that lead to these thoughts. This self-talk is an endless stream of thoughts that run through your head. These automatic thoughts can be either positive or negative, and some of your self-talk may come from logic or reason. Other self-talk may arise from misconceptions that you have created. If the thoughts running through your head are mostly negative, then you might lean toward a pessimistic view of life. If most of your thoughts are positive, then you tend to be more optimistic. Positive, optimistic people are generally happier and healthier and enjoy more success than those who think negatively. The key difference between them is how they think about and interpret the events in their life. Positive thinking is often associated with positive actions and outcomes. You are drawn to and you focus on the positive aspects of a situation. You have hope and faith in yourself and others, and you work and invest hard to prove that your optimism is warranted. You will enthuse others, and they may well pitch in to help you. This makes constructive outcomes all the more likely. A willingness to develop positive thinking skills and practicing them determines your future. What do you choose for your own future? Positive thinking doesn't mean that you keep your head in the sand and ignore life's less pleasant situations. Positive thinking just means that you approach unpleasantness in a more positive and productive way. You think the best is going to happen, not the worst. The purpose of this training today is to help you understand how thoughts influence your behavior, is to help you strengthen positive thoughts and emotions, to help you manage negative thoughts, to help you learn common negative thought types, and to help you apply rational and positive thinking to challenge those negative thoughts that affect you. Positive thinking is a cognitive process that helps an individual develop a mental attitude of hope and optimism. It is a skill that can be developed with practice. However, it takes work, it takes self-awareness, self-correction, and repetition to be able to have an optimistic and bright big picture view of the world at your foundation. It's not always easy. We are humans and our emotions fluctuate with our circumstances quite naturally. We often operate from a reactionary place. In the past, people have advocated positive thinking almost recklessly, as if it's the solution to everything. However, positive thinking should be used with common sense. First, decide rationally what goals you can realistically attain with hard work, and then use positive thinking to reinforce these. Researchers continue to explore the effects of positive thinking and optimism on health. Health benefits that positive thinking may provide include better physical and mental health. For example, positive people who regularly express positive emotions are more resilient when facing stress, challenges, and adversity. They typically have a lower rate of depression, a longer lifespan, and stronger immunity. The more positive you are, the greater the positive impact you have on your professional life. Positive people get promoted and get raises not just because of their own work, but because they bring out the best in others. Positive people are able to maintain a broader perspective and see the big picture, which helps them identify solutions, whereas negative people maintain a narrower perspective and tend to focus on problems. Positive people are more productive and creative. They're also solution-focused and outperform their negative work environments. Now that you are aware of the benefits of positive thinking, let's explore how your thinking influences your behavior, which ultimately affects your outer world. There is a saying that thoughts become things, so choose the good ones. In other words, your thoughts can shape your reality or your experience of reality. For example, there is a job opening at your company. That would mean a promotion for you. If your thought is, I am experienced and trained in this subject and would do really well in that position, then the feelings associated with that thought are enthusiasm and self-confidence. Because you're thinking and feeling a certain way, your behavior will most likely reflect that. So you begin to take steps to put your name in for that job. But what if your thought going into that meeting is, I am not as intelligent as the other people in this room? Then the feelings associated with that thought are discouragement, stress, and maybe even intimidation. Because you're thinking and feeling a certain way, your behavior will most likely reflect that. So you maybe choose not to speak up, or even when you have a good idea or an insight. And as a result of your behavior or lack thereof, your thought then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and affects your external world, and you choose not to apply for that position. It is within your power to choose positive thoughts that will lead to positive actions. This type of thinking requires work, self-awareness, self-correction, and definitely practice. It's not always easy. We are human, and our emotions vacillate with our circumstances quite naturally. We often operate from a reactionary place. So how do we do it? How do we tap into the power of positive thinking? The first step is to strengthen your positive thoughts and emotions. What can you do to increase and strengthen positive emotions and thoughts within you? Well, anything that sparks feelings of joy, contentment, and love will do the trick. You can help yourself maintain a positive frame of mind by surrounding yourself with positive energy in your life. You can get that by adding the following elements to your life. First, practice positive self-talk. Most of us are in a constant mental chatter. We talk to ourselves all day long, and unfortunately, this self-talk is frequently negative. Your actions are inspired by your thoughts. If you can change the way you think, you can begin to change the actions you take. Practicing positive self-talk can help you set in motion actions that will bring you greater rewards. Second, one of the most important ways you can get and keep positive energy in your life is with the company you keep. When you surround yourself with positive people, you clear away the negativity that exists around you and create more room to welcome positive and nurturing energy. Choose your friends with care. They create the environment in which you will either thrive or wilt. Third, meditate. People who meditate daily display more positive emotions than those who do not. Fourth, make time for play. Play is the state where we truly are ourselves. Once we have let go of our egos and our fear of looking stupid. Play immerses us in the moment, and we are effortlessly able to slip into flow. Play allows us to imagine, to create, to bond with, and understand each other. Play is what creates our strongest social circles. And lastly, listen to uplifting music. This is definitely a positive mood enhancer. So these are some of the things that you can do to strengthen your positive thoughts and emotions. But what happens when you come up against negative thoughts? Negative thinking is inevitable and quite normal. The key is learning how to manage them. Try to remember the last time you thought negatively about something. How did you feel and how did you act? As I demonstrated earlier, your thoughts directly affect how you feel, which has a direct impact on how you act and how you behave. It becomes a cycle where negative thoughts reinforce negative emotions, which in turn produces negative actions. If the cycle is not broken and left to run uninterrupted, it inevitably has a detrimental physical and mental effect on the person experiencing the spin. For many people, this negative thought pattern is a learned behavior or a bad habit that you may not even know you're doing. You may not be aware of all of your negative thoughts and the effect that they have in your life. However, by taking some time to understand your own thought patterns, you can challenge those negative thoughts and replace them with more positive, optimistic, and empowering messages. There are many ways of thinking negatively, as most of us only know too well, including overinflating negative situations, negatively biased thinking that focuses on the negative rather than the neutral or the positive. In general, though, negative thoughts fall into a few basic categories. Let's review 8 types of negative thoughts and how to counter them with positive thoughts. First, there's all or nothing, sometimes called black or white thinking. We say that there's nothing in between, no gray area. You can begin to replace these thoughts by practicing continuum thinking. Think of a dial where 0 is nothing and 10 is everything or all. You want to move the dial to the middle, to 5, to be more neutral. Next is mental filters. This type of thinking filters out the positive and magnifies the negative, like looking through tinted binoculars. To overcome negative mental filtering, begin to identify and appreciate the positives. Third, there's overgeneralizing, thinking always or never. Overgeneralizing expands a specific problem to an everlasting issue. To avoid overgeneralizing, stay specific and focused on the now. Fourth, disqualifying the positive, where you discount the good things that have happened to you or that you have done. In this type of thinking, the positives don't matter. So this type of thinking eliminates joy and satisfaction in the good things. You can begin to purposely take delight in the positives. Do you tend to favor any of these negative thought types? Let's review a few more and then try an exercise. Here are 4 more negative thought types. Jumping to conclusions is all about judgment without facts. Either mind reading, imagining that we know what others are thinking, or fortune telling, predicting the future, will often set off a negative thought cycle. This usually increases anxiety, anger, and/or depression. If you find yourself jumping to conclusions, try to consider all of the alternative scenarios instead. Emotional reasoning is when you assume that because you feel a certain way, that you think it must be true. For this thought type, listen to both your head and your heart. It will be the most effective. Magnification is when you compare unfairly and blow things out of proportion, or the opposite of that, minimizing situations to seem less important than they are. Shoulds, forming strict rules and unrealistic expectations of ourselves and others. For a more positive outcome, bring your expectations in line with reality. These are just a few of the different types of negative thinking. Remember, learning how to challenge and reframe your negative thinking takes time. Be patient and forgiving with yourself. Once you are aware of your negative thoughts, challenge them with rational thinking. Ask yourself whether that thought is in fact reasonable and does it stand up to fair scrutiny. The next step is to use rational positive thoughts and affirmations to the negative thoughts. For example, a common negative thought that you have is worries that your performance in your job is not good enough. Start challenging them with the following rational thinking inquiries. Do you have the training that a reasonable person would think is needed to do a good job? Have you planned appropriately? Do you have the information and resources that you need? Have you cleared the time you need and queued up your support team appropriately? Have you prepared thoroughly? If you haven't, then you need to do these things quickly. If you have, then you're well positioned and you can give the best performance that you can. The next step is to use positive thoughts and affirmations to support you. I have researched and I have planned well for this, and I thoroughly understand the problem. I have the time, the resources, and the help that I need. I am well prepared. to do an excellent job. As we wrap up the webinar, here are a few key points that I'd like you to remember. Positive thinking is a skill that can be developed with practice and time. Remember that your thoughts influence your feelings and your behavior. Surround yourself with positive people, people that are just as optimistic as you are. Remember to practice positive self-talk. Use rational thinking and positive affirmations to challenge negative thoughts. And lastly, remember to be patient and forgiving with yourself. Learning to challenge your negative thinking takes time and practice. Lastly, I'd like to remind you that we are here for you if you need any further services from us. We are a service that is private and confidential, and that is available to you and any of your family members. In addition to addressing mental health and behavioral health issues, we can also provide consultation on legal, financial, child care, and elder care issues. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.